First scene from Forget-Me-Nots. Fade in. Exterior, seaside cottage. Morning. A white clapboard cottage with a screened-in porch shaded by poplars ablaze with colorful autumn foliage. The cottage stands on a ridge overlooking the ocean, glassy calm in the still morning air. The screened-in porch. The inner door of the cottage bursts open and a man runs out onto the porch and out the porch door. He comes into the sunshine where we can get a good look at him as he runs along the seaside ridge. The man is in pajamas. Fancy, but definitely PJs, not running gear. He's in his mid-50s, trim and well-groomed, silver-gray hair, such as a lawyer might sport, or a banker, except for the wound at his temple and the dried blood. His eyes are clear, intelligent, betraying nothing. Along the ridge he runs, swiftly, effortlessly, with preternatural focus. Exterior, rocky island, promontory, morning. A spit of land standing out against the sea. Tall pines poke their crowns above a forest of autumnal oranges and reds. The man bursts into view, emerging from a forest trail. Down the craggy shore he runs, never missing a step. Out into the water, up to his thighs. Forward he dives and swims, powerful strokes, headed beneath the surface. And he is gone. Once again, morning calm returns to sea and forest. Dissolved to exterior, rocky island, promontory, sunset. The same spit of land, the autumnal oranges and reds lit up and now in the glow of sunset. Waves roll in to die upon the craggy shoreline. Off-screen, the voice of a precocious 12-year-old girl.
The maples turned early this year. Last fall, the leaves were pale as rust till almost November.
Deeper into the island forest, golden light filters through the trees, setting a fiery maple aglow. A hiking trail littered with fallen leaves.
This year, they're blood red. They lose their grip and pinwheel to the earth as if stabbed in the heart. Duly recorded. Come on, Dudley.
A resonant woof-woof of a large dog, also off-screen. Deeper still into the forest, more shadow than light, dense with ground cover, rotting logs covered in moss and mushroom caps, fairy ferns and weeds of every sort.
Dudley, get out of the poison oak.
The sound of the wolf's happy approach, and the dog being patted. The girl's voice is full of cheery exasperation.
I know you're immune mud breath, but you'll track it all over the cottage on your big furry clown feet.
The sound of the dog wolf running off in hot pursuit.
Attaboy, chase the squirrel up the tree, that'll work.
Exterior, forest cottage, porch continuous. A modest, woodsy cottage in the clearing. Evan Gray, mid-40s, in worn jeans and a faded work shirt, sits quietly on a porch swing suspended from the eaves. A golden retriever lies next to him on a wool blanket, its head in the man's lap. The dog's eyes are barely open. Its breathing labored. Evan looks out at the forest dappled in golden light. A hockey puck-sized smart speaker sits next to him on the swing's armrest. The speaker lights up as the girl's voice and the dog's woof emanate.
Dad, did you say this juniper weed is invasive? Pretty little thing, though. What is a weed, anyway? Sounds like a bio-prejudice to me. A weed is a flower loved but by God. Ooh, that's good. Dudley, you may quote me.
In Evan's lap, the dog whines weakly at the sound of the girl's voice. He strokes the dog's head. From the speaker, a girl's contented sigh.
Autumn is my favorite season. Bet you knew that.
He presses the speaker's stop button and the light goes out. Exterior, cemetery, sunset. A tiny graveyard, shaded by pines and overgrown with weeds, bound by knee-high stone wall. A dozen or so headstones, mostly ancient. A shovel breaks the ground next to a headstone. Bevan digs a hole. A bundled wool blanket lies nearby. He picks up the sagging bundle, sets it in the hole. Gently, he tucks the dog's golden tail. He fills in the hole, sets the shovel aside. He crouches in front of the headstones and speaks with a weary tenderness.
I don't suppose at this point anyone will make an issue of burying a dog in a people's cemetery.
He plucks absently at a weed at the dog's grave, studies the tiny sprig briefly. Something different. He stuffs the sprig away in a breast pocket, looks off at the dying light. Exterior, forest cottage, post-sunset. Evan returns to the cottage, sets the shovel by the door and goes inside. The forest has gone gray. Interior, forest cottage, kitchen, continuous. The kitchen is homey and rustic. Dated appliances, aging furniture. Time has stood still in this house. Entering, Evan picks up a dog dish off the floor. About to dump its contents into the trash, he hesitates, and glumly sets the dish back down. Maybe tomorrow. He opens a cabinet above the counter. Inside the cabinet is nothing but cans of SpaghettiOs and cartons of Lucky Strikes. He stuffs a pack of Luckies in his breast pocket. He grabs a can of O's and opens the pop top, grabs a spoon from the drawer. He steps to the fridge. A dozen or so family snapshots are taped to the door. His eye lingers on a photo of a 12-year-old girl with Dudley the dog. The girl stands athwart a trail in sun-dappled forest, poised on the precipice of young womanhood. To one side of the photos is a calendar. The month of October, the first few days have been crossed off. Wednesday, October 31st, is circled in red. Evan grabs a pencil hanging on a string, crosses off today, October 4th. He opens the fridge and grabs a six-pack of Old Style from the near-naked shelf, closes the fridge door and exits. Interior, living room, continuous. He sits down at a warm wooden table by a picture window. He spoons from the can, chases it down with a slug of beer, pulls the Luckies from his pocket, lights one and takes a drag. On the floor, a mouse appears from a hole in the baseboard, scurries along the floor. The mouse makes its way atop the table and marches boldly up to the can of SpaghettiOs. The mouse climbs on the rim and helps itself. Evan takes a luxuriant, sinful drag of his cigarette.
I'm telling you, Mickey, that stuff will kill you.
A thought. From his pocket, he pulls the tiny sprig from the grave. He looks it over, curious. An ashtray on the windowsill. He blows away the ashes, pours in the slug of beer, sets the little sprig afloat in the beer, stares out at the gloaming. Dissolved to. Exterior, cottage, night. The porch light stands out against the night. Overhead, the Milky Way is visible through the gathering clouds. Interior, living room, night. A smart speaker on an end table softly plays a big band tune, ancient and melancholy. In a reading chair, Evan pages through a fat binder by the light of the single lamp. In the binder, a sketch, skillfully drawn, of two tiny spotted fawns curled up into the underbrush. Evan speaks, as if to the room.
Audrey, play Heather's journal. Entry date 10/7/16.
The smart speaker lights up and the music cuts out, replaced by a pleasant, slightly mechanical feminine voice.
Playing Heather's journal, entry date 10/7/16.
And the girl's voice starts up.
We saw the fawns today, Dad. They've lost all their spots. They're bigger than Dudley.
Slowly, Evan turns the pages of the journal. Page after page of colorful sketches, photos, handwritten entries, doodled marginalia, wildflowers, pressed flat and insects taped in place. The record of a precocious child's life spent in nature, probing and embracing.
Hello, Ms. Millipede. Don't let us impede your progress. Note to self, I need new boots before we go back to Boston.
Evan touches at a fanciful sketch of a millipede decked out in a line of hiking boots. He turns the pages.
I found a new plant, Dad. It looks kind of like a Fostoria, only shinier. It was growing on a log in the cemetery. Have you seen it? Is it something new, or did Dudley and I discover the dandelion again?
Evan closes the binder. On the cover, beneath the title, Heather's Nature Journal, is a photo of a beaming 4-year-old brandishing a dandelion. Dudley, barely more than a pup, stands at her side.
I'll show you two next time we go on a walk together. Get your head out of the stars, Dad.
He looks off, not so much stoic as hollowed out. The voice of Audrey breaks in.
Update on Balthazar.
The voice of a newscaster follows.
In the latest on Balthazar, astronomers at Hawaii's Mauna Kea Observatory report that the star continues to decay at a constant rate, placing implosion at 27 days. Gravity waves forewarning of the supernova explosion were first detected 8 months ago by Harvard astrobiologist Evan Gray. Speculation that Earth might somehow be spared from the distant star's deadly tidal wave of gamma radiation have proven futile. Delivery of food goods to Boston area grocers continues for now, though shortages of meat and...
Audrey, play big band.
The newscast cuts out and Audrey intones.
Here's Sliding Over the Moon by Fairmont Trio.
As Evan stares out at the darkness, nostalgic old melody starts up. Interior, kitchen, night. Evan enters the kitchen, opens the fridge, grabs a six-pack, and heads out the door. Exterior, cottage continuous. He walks to the side of the cottage, where a ladder leans against the eaves. He climbs the ladder. He walks across the length of the roof, stepping over an untidy pile of shingles. At the other end of the roof, a rickety suspension bridge runs from the roof to a treehouse in a nearby tree. Evan crosses the bridge. The treehouse is a kid's dream. A ramshackle open design with railings festooned with strings of colorful fairy Christmas lights. A chubby telescope stands on a tripod studded with tracking gizmos. Evan plunks into a lawn chair beside the telescope and sets down his beers.
Audrey, kill the lights.
A smart speaker resting atop an upturned barrel lights up, and the strings of fairy lights go out. Evan leans in, looks through the telescope's eyepiece. The image of a single star, as seen through the telescope, a faint, distant speck enveloped by an ominous halo of light. The star peeks in and out of view through the darkening clouds. Evan sits back, pops a beer, settles into his chair. It begins to rain.